Very good evening, my dear students. Myself, Professor Sapna Sharma from BBSCA Department, Modern College Business Administrative Campus. So, dear student, today's our topic is all about the architecture of cloud computing. Now, before moving to the current topic, let us go through what we people have did into the last sessions. The very first session was all about the basic fundamental things about the cloud computing, what exactly cloud computing is, and other stuffs. Okay, there we have studied the fundamental units with respect to the cloud computing. Then when you talk about the second topic, so second topic is nothing but it's all about your comparison between the traditional IT market and your cloud computing. Then we have also studied various type of deployment model. Then we have studied the various type of service models, and then we took a very good example of the cloud computing. Okay, and there we have studied a live example. The example was based on to the Hitachi uh, financial cloud computing it was. And in today's session, dear student, we will be talking about the architecture of cloud computing, what exactly it is, right? See, we have studied cloud computing, but we haven't understood what type of architecture does this cloud computing follows. So let's take a dig into it. So when you talk about the cloud model or the cloud architecture, so here we have the cloud conceptual reference model, dear student. Okay, and this particular model is nothing but the high level architecture that I want to show you. So it is having the five different major actors, and every actor would be having certain roles, certain responsibilities, certain type of activities, and certain type of functions, okay, in order to go ahead with the cloud computing, right? Now, before moving to the roles, responsibilities, activities, and function, we should be able to understand the requirement. Then we have to understand the type of users. Then we have to understand the characteristics and standards of the cloud computing. These are most very much important, dear student. So inside this requirement, user characteristics and standards, we have cloud consumers, we have cloud providers. Okay, there are the bifurcations which I have mentioned over here. See, this is the cloud consumers. This is the area which is known as the cloud consumer. And this is the area which is known as the cloud provider. Then we are having the cloud brokers. Then we have the cloud auditors. And at last, we people have the cloud carriers. Okay, so these are the various type of part of your cloud computing reference model, you may say. Now, cloud services characteristics. So what are the different type of services? So there are on demand self service, then broad network access, then resource pooling is also there. If you just see over here, you will be able to find out all those stuffs. Then you have the resource pooling, rapid elasticity, and at last you have the measured services. These are the cloud service characteristics, means the services which are being provided by the cloud, they have these kind of characters inside it. Now, what are the different type of actors, dear students? So we already have understood these all are nothing but your actors, the various type of actors. So over here we have the cloud consumer, cloud auditor, cloud provider, cloud broker, and cloud carrier. Okay, now let us go through into the depth manner about the cloud consumer. Okay, you can say cloud consumer can be anyone. It can be an individual person, or in fact it can be an organization, okay, which is having certain business, okay, which is having certain business. Okay, now second is the cloud provider. You can say it can be a person or it can be an organization which give you, which not only give you, means you can say which provide you the services, means which provide you or which makes the service availability. Then we have cloud auditor. Okay, so you can say cloud auditor is a party that can conduct independent assessment of the cloud services, means cloud auditor would be doing the assessment of the services that are being there inside your cloud. Okay, so here the type of things that are being done by the cloud auditor is analysis, assessment of the operation, then assessment of the performance, assessment of the security. Okay, then you have cloud broker. Okay, so cloud broker, you can say an entity that manages the user use, then performance, then delivery of the cloud. Okay, here cloud broker would be sitting in between the cloud providers and cloud consumers. Then at last you people have the cloud carriers. So you can say cloud carriers are nothing but the intermediary that provide connectivity, okay, between the cloud provider and cloud consumer. A connectivity is being provided between the cloud consumer and cloud provider. See, there is a connectivity, and this connectivity is being provided by your cloud carriers. Okay, now let me move on to the next part. So let us discuss somehow, like we have the scenario one, uh, the very first scenario into the cloud. Cloud consumer interact with the cloud broker. You can say over here. See, I have a cloud consumer, and my cloud consumer is nothing but interacting with the cloud broker. Okay, so basically what is having, the cloud consumer is not directly communicating with the cloud providers. It is first communicating with the cloud brokers, and cloud brokers are communicating with the cloud providers. Okay, so here we are having like this, the actual cloud providers are invisible to the cloud consumer, obviously, because here we people are having the cloud brokers in between them. Then we have the scenario number two. So see over here, I have the cloud consumer, this is the cloud provider, and this is the cloud carrier. So cloud carrier provide the connectivity and transport of cloud services from cloud provider to the cloud consumer. Means cloud services are being provided. Okay, it is being provided from cloud provider to the cloud consumer. So my cloud carriers are acting as a carrier bag, or they are acting as a connectivity. So cloud provider participate in and arranges for two unique service level agreements. So there are one with cloud carrier and one with the cloud consumer. See, cloud provider is having two different service level agreement, SLA1 as SLA2. SLA1 is for the cloud consumer and SLA2 is for the cloud carrier. Okay, so cloud provider will be doing what? Cloud provider will will make a request to the cloud carrier to provide a dedicated and encrypted connection. Since your cloud carrier is acting as a provider for connection, right? He is providing, like cloud carriers are providing the connection so far. Okay, so my cloud provider will ask the cloud carrier to make a dedicated connection. Okay, so that cloud provider can easily provide the cloud services to the cloud consumer. Fine. Now scenario number three is, I have cloud consumer, cloud provider, and cloud auditor. So cloud auditor is having the responsibility of security checking, then maintenance, controlling, and all these things. Means like basically cloud auditor is doing the assessment. So cloud auditor is having the assessment, okay, with respect to the operation and security of the cloud services. The audit may involve interaction between both your cloud consumer and cloud provider. Next, cloud consumers are what? See, cloud consumer browses and uses the services. Obviously, what is the purpose of the cloud consumer? They just want to enjoy the services that are being provided by the cloud, right? So in order to enjoy these services, they have to maintain the contractship. Okay, they have to maintain a contract. Okay, so there will be a contract formulation between the cloud consumer and the cloud provider. So cloud consumer need to have a agreement, and that agreement is nothing but SLA. Okay, and this SLA will specify technical performance which cloud provider will be giving you. All the technology performance things that will be provided by the cloud consumer so far. Okay, so SLA cover the quality of services, Okay, what all things they are having in performance? Services, security, remedies for performance failures and all. So cloud provider list some SLA, okay, and which are benefited to the cloud consumer. So cloud consumer can freely choose any of the service whichever they want, whichever comes under their requirement, under their budget and all. So all the policies and all for like pricing policy and SLA are non-negotiable, means they are fixed. You cannot make any negotiation over to it. So these are the cloud consumers, dear students. Various cloud consumer onto the basis of various, you can say, the service models as PaaS and SaaS type of consumers and all. Right? Who are the SaaS consumers? So SaaS consumers can be an organization that provide their member with access to software application. See, since SaaS is nothing but the software as a service, so they are dealing with the software applications, right? Uh, because they are dealing with the software applications, they are dealing with the software application administrators. So SaaS consumer can be built based on the number of end users they are having, right? How much end user they are having, the network bandwidth that is being consumed, the amount of data which is being transferred or which is being stored in a stipulated time. And when you talk about the PaaS consumers, so PaaS consumers can be application developer, since it is talking about the platform as a service, right? So there we are talking about the administrator, we are talking about the application developers, right? Who design the application, who implement the application, who try to do the testing, who try to publish that application, right? Monitor that particular application, maintain that particular application, right? That is the most important part. But when you talk about the ask consumer, so ask consumer can be any system developer. He can be a system developer. Infrastructure we are talking about. We are not talking about any specific application. We are talking about the whole system. So system developer would be there, system administrator, IT manager, right? Who are interested in creating, installing, managing, monitoring services for IT infrastructure operations. So as consumer can be built according to the amount or the duration of the resources that are being consumed. See, resources are something which are being consumed by the multiple people, right? That is the most important thing. Like the hours of the CPU that are being utilized, then what level of volume, duration of the data is being used or consumed, everything with respect to the IP addresses and all. Here that we will be requiring, okay. Then we have the cloud providers. So cloud providers will, they will try to understand what are the requirement of the cloud consumers, right? They try to manage it, they try to make that kind of infrastructure so that cloud consumers can use them, right? So cloud providers use various service models like PaaS, then AS, then SaaS at the various level, various perspective levels and all. Cloud providers major 5 different activities is service deployment, means you have to do the service deployment, then service orchestration, then cloud service management, security and privacy. These are the services, or you can say these are the 5 major activities that are being performed by your cloud providers. Now, who are cloud auditors, dear student? As I have mentioned previous itself, cloud auditors are nothing but they are there in order to maintain the security, in order to maintain the privacy, impact, performance, everything, right? So auditing is especially important for federal agencies. Security auditing can make an assessment on the security control, means where we are determining, whether it is implemented correctly or not, right? Verification of the kind of security audit and everything, fine, that is being there. So auditors play a very important role. They are just like you can say the testers who do the assessment on to the services that will be provided so far. Then we have the cloud brokers, dear students. So cloud brokers are being sitting in between the cloud service providers and your cloud consumers, right? So where cloud consumers cannot directly communicate to the, you can say, cloud provider, because cloud brokers are being sitting over there, because they are sitting in order to make the deal negotiable, right? So in general, cloud brokers can provide the services in three different categories. The very first category is service intermediation. Now, when you talk about intermediation, what exactly it is? So, broker enhance the service by improving capabilities and providing added service to the consumer. Means something different, something new. Okay. So, where that improvement is being done? That improvement is being done into the cloud services, into the identity management, into the performance reporting, enhanced securities and all. You get the advantage or add-on things on these stuffs and all. Then service aggregation. So there you are having the broker combines and integrate multiple services into one or more new services. Means you try to break the things and you try to generate new things out of it. Means you break the services and you try to make new services out of it, right? That is the most important thing. And third one is the service arbitrage. It is similar to the service aggregation, with the flexibility of choosing the services from multiple agencies. Like broker can select service with best response time, from where they can get the most of the response time. Next, we have the cloud carriers. Now, what is the purpose behind the cloud carriers? Cloud carriers provide access to the consumer through what? Through the network. Okay, the network that you people are using. Then you can use the telecommunication medium or any of the device from which you can perform the communication so far. Okay, so here we are having the example, like for cloud carrier we have the various type of devices such as computer, laptop, mobile phones, internet devices and all, right? That is the most important thing that takes place. And there also you should have the high capability hard drives and all. So far there you are having the SLA, that is the agreement, and cloud provider set up this agreement with the cloud carriers and all. So the scope of control between the provider and consumer is what exactly? See here, if you see, we people are having the three level. Application layer is there, middleware layer is there, on operating system layer is there, and we have the cloud provider and cloud consumer. So application layer are used by the Sas consumers. Basically application layer, if you just see in terms of the cloud consumer and in terms of the cloud provider, so Sas is into the blue color, PaaS is into the pink, and then you are having the AS, that is into the somehow like very faded color, you can say cyan faded color. Then application layer is being used by the Sas, whereas your middleware layer is being managed by the PaaS, whereas your operating system layer is being implemented or it is being managed by the us. Okay, so us layer is hidden from Sas consumers and PaaS consumers. Consumer have the freedom to choose the OS, because see, operating system layer means what I am talking about, the OS so far, right? So ours would be always hidden from the Sas consumers and from the PaaS consumers. So you can say that at the topmost position your application layer is sitting, that means what, your Sas consumers would be there, the end users you can say, and in middle you people are having the PaaS consumers, and in the last you are having the AS consumers. So next is various kind of cloud computing architecture that you see. The very first cloud computing architecture is Web 2.0, right? So what are the features of the Web 2.0, dear student? They are based on the home page. You can do the research, you can do the RSS over there. Then you can perform the chatting, sharing of the content, right? Then podcasting, video casting, YouTube, everything you have over there, right? Whatever is the recent trendy things. Then mashup. So mashup, when you talk about, it is a phenomena to creating new services onto the web with combinations, means you just combine few things and you just make certain stuff. So what is the benefit of the mashup, dear student? You get a very good type of innovation. Okay, so basically your mashup is being divided into three different layers: presentation layer, web service, and data. When you talk about the presentation, means what? Whatever the GUI that you people see. So in order to make that GUI, you have to use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Ajax, and different type of APIs. Middle is your web services. Web services means what? They are talking about the XML, RPC, JSON, RPC, SOAP, REST. These are the web services that you use. And the third one is last, your data, means data representator, you can say. With the help of this data representator, we can send, store, or you can say receive the data. You have the various type of data formatter, data representator, which called like XML is the language, JSON is also there, KML is also there. Okay, then RSS feed. So RSS is an XML language. You must you can so find out RSS. It is an XML language for syndicating subscribed content onto the web. Means the content which is asked by the users. So registers with an organization on web who create an RSS feed. Users is automatically updated with the RSS feed every time. You will be getting the notification whenever there will be the data feeding into the RSS. You will be getting the notification. Hadoop is there. The Apache Hadoop project develop open source software for reliable, scalable, and distributed computing. Means for basically for the distributed computing, Hadoop is the you can say it is a biggest invention, you must say. Then it has a level of library framework, and it is basically used for the distributed processing, right? And due to this distributed processing, scalability has been increased. And there they have implemented a very important concept, that is fault tolerant file system is also there. Then means where we can detect and we can find out where the failure is going on, right? We have Hadoop distributed file system inside it. Then we have map reduce also for parallel computing and all. This is the diagram for the Hadoop distributed file system, dear students, right? We have certain racks. That rack is having various blocks where the data would be stored so far, from where the data can read it, the data can write it, right? Everything. Hadoop distributed, when you talk about, so HDFS force, you have like data nodes, right? You have different type of data nodes. You have secondary data node, you have master, you have primary data nodes and all, right? So there is, this is the combinatory part of your Hadoop. Then Hadoop distributed file system. So first one is the name node. Now what is the purpose of the name node? With the help of name node, we maintain the status of the data node basically. Okay, it would be consist of files, and inside the file you will be having the data, and we maintain the status of that particular data. Okay, heartbeat. Data node send heartbeat at regular interval of time. Means there will be the trigger, so you can say heartbeat is nothing but a trigger, and that trigger would be sent it at a regular interval of time. If imagine if that trigger is not received, so you can say that data node is dead, it is not active. Next is block report. Data node send the list of block onto it. used to check health of what? Hadoop distributed file system. Okay, then we have the data node. Data node means what? The very first thing is replicates. Okay, replicates means what? Replication is being required if one thing get corrupted, another copy would be working. So for that purpose, replication is there. Data integrity means we will check out whether data is not being changed while having the processing and all. So for that, checksum is the method that you have to apply. And then we are having the rebalancing where you have to use the balancer tool. Okay, why? Because imagine the nodes that we people are having, they are not able to adjustify all the data, so we will be adding new nodes so that we can balance the things between them. This is you can say Hadoop distributed file system data replication which is going on. We try to replicate the data nodes so that we can do the balancing. This is the way how the mapping is being done, provided by the, see, you have the two different sections. One section is being provided by the user and one section is being provided by the Hadoop framework. So how they are mapped with each other. Okay, how they are mapped with each other. For example, if you talk about the output format and output location, they are being mapped with the collection of final output. The mapping would be going on. This is the word count. These are the various type of functionalities that you have to talk about. Strom is used for like mm, finding out the data which is more appropriate, which is most appropriate type of data. Strom. So when you talk about Strom, when you talk about the word count, when you talk about the map reduce, the when you talk about the data replication, these are the various terms that are the, or you can say various methodologies that are being implemented into your Hadoop distributed file system. Our basic tendency was to understand the architecture, where we have also studied these few technologies, dear student. So I hope this particular session would have make you people understand ki into the architecture you are having the cloud carriers, cloud providers, cloud consumers, right? So that they can have the communication among each other and they can form something very good. So today we will stop here only. Thank you so very much for attending the session. See you into the next session of the cloud computing MOOC course. Thank you.